everybody, Hayden Klein here from HK Digital Reviews, and it's that time. It is most certainly that time that I talk about the top 10 worst albums of 2019. Yes, 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 I gotta do it because you need to know how bad music. Well, not all music was bad in 2019, but you should at least know there were some pretty bad albums released in 2019. There really are. Just stuff that I listened to and I couldn't believe I was hearing. Some of it I thought was an absolute joke. I don't know really what else to say except, let's just get in this top 10. I went on forever on the top 5 worst songs, and that was 5 songs. Not gonna do that here today. I just want to just let you guys know what it is, talk a little bit about it, then move on before I lose my mind and send my head right through this desk that's right in front of me. So let's just get on with it. At the number 10 spot, we have DJ Khaled with Father of Ahsad. And this thing, if one word described it, was, well, if 2 words describe this album, really, is no chemistry. None at all. Everybody that's on here, when they're paired together, they do not fit whatsoever. And that's the thing. DJ Khaled doesn't actually do anything musically. He just brings people together, and he has them just do stuff over a beat, puts it out, and he just hopes he makes a lot of money. And that's really his only method in music. He doesn't actually make music. He doesn't produce. He doesn't do anything actually. He's just kind of there, and he somehow is able to make a lot of money because of this. I will never understand it, but most of the stuff that DJ Khaled puts out is pretty bad. He does have good songs here and there, but on this album, you're not going to find a good song on it. You're just not going to. All of it's a complete mess. The features that go together do not mix at all. I don't know. I mean, I know why he did it. They're big names. Put them together, see what happens, make a lot of money from it. That's basically what was happening here, and it was a fail, mega fail all around. And then to make it worse, his reaction to his album being or not becoming number 1 was absolutely immature as hell and childish. And he basically was trying to call out an album that was a million times better than this one, being Tyler, the Creator's Igor, and was just saying a bunch of stuff about it. But this album, not a good listen. All the songs on it have no chemistry between the artists whatsoever. Sound like a bunch of mishmash. Just not good. Not good. At number 9, we have an artist that's really not talked about anymore, and that's for good reason. Honestly, it's for a really good reason that this artist isn't talked about anymore, because he really hasn't done anything impressive as of late or ever in his career, and that's the new Tyga album, Legendary. I listened to this just because I kind of just wanted to see if he was even worth talking about in a limelight, so to speak, and he wasn't at all. He never had. No. The lyrics on every single song basically are just gross. Like, he's trying to be, he's known for being more of a sensual, sexual topic rapper, but God, is his stuff just trash, okay? The lyrics are trash. They're garbage. They're not sexy. They're gross. They're actually gross. There's nothing about it that sounds like it's going to get a woman to want to sleep with you or whatever. It's not. It's really just gross. Every single song, I legitimately was just thinking ew the entire time because the lyrics were just laughably corny, sexual, really. I don't know. And plus, let's just go over the fact that the beats on this entire thing are just so generic. There is nothing about it that's interesting about these beats. The bass is just not there. The drum beat or whatever is just non-existent. It's pointless. This was a pretty pointless record. I could have honestly done a why does this album exist thing on my channel if I actually had reviewed this originally on my YouTube. But I didn't. I was on my Instagram. But Yeah, no, this was Tyga's not a good artist. I don't know why he's still being allowed to produce music, or not produce music, rap over music, and with some very crappy lyrics. So I'll just never get it. At the the number 8 spot here, we have another artist that kind of took his hand at what DJ Khaled was doing, except made songs on it that I think were worse than what was on the DJ Khaled record, and that's the new Ed Sheeran record, number 6 collaborations project. Again, not necessarily that there was a lack of chemistry with this, even though there really was. I mean, come on, Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, and Chris Stapleton on the same song, a rock song nonetheless. Why? Why do you think that was gonna work? Why? But that's not the only offender here. Every song on this, again, is really just poorly executed from start to finish. Ed is not a great performer on this record. Not at all. The lyrics that he writes on this thing are, again, probably some of the worst he's ever written. And he's not that great of a writer, anyways. He's not that great of an artist, period. Anyways, he's always been kind of an artist that I've questioned why he was as popular as he is. And him trying to bring a bunch of people like Cardi B and, like I said, Stapleton, Mars, and a whole Eminem and 50 Cent, the features they have on here are terrible, god awful. I didn't really want to hear Eminem and 50 Cent rap together because who really wants to ever hear that? I know I don't. I mean, well, by themselves, maybe not too bad, but when you put the two together, I don't agree with it. But yeah, this entire record, full of collaborations that, again, some of them have a slight chemistry between them, but their performances on it and the lyrics on it are either just boring, they're either trash, or some of the worst they've performed in their career. And it's just not having it. Not really worth talking about anymore. At number 7, alright, is a band that I don't know why they were ever popular really in the first place, because I used to kind of like them way back in the day when I was much younger. I mean, much younger. You know, a little bit with my slight emo-ness kind of going on with me, and that's this new. And this band, they have really gotten so much worse. Even though they were kind of bad to begin with, they've gotten so much worse over the years. And in fact, I didn't even know this album existed until middle of this year, and it came out in January. And this band and this album that I'm talking about is the new Papa Roach record, Who Do You Trust? Well, I'll say this, I don't trust these guys to make good freaking music, so I guess I can't trust these guys, because they just did something stupid on this album. It's like they took every Imagine Dragons, like, idea, basically, and tried incorporating it with their already kind of crappy sound, and he just kind of mushed it together, and we got this terrifyingly bad electro pop rock album that has no soul to it, no redeeming qualities at all to it. Some songs are kind of boppy. Not really. I can't even remember what songs they were. I kind of remember the beats a little bit, but not really much. But I just remember hearing this and just remembering this is one of the most forgettable things that anybody could have ever released. And I see why. Because no rock station I listened to even talked about this. They even give a thought about this. They just kind of like let it go to the wayside here and just like, forget that even happened. And I guess that was a good idea, because I really wish I forgot this happened. I wish I just never got curious and decided, let me just click on this album to see what Papa Roach is up to. They're up to some of the most generically bad too, pop rock, electro pop music that you can imagine. These guys just need to, they just need to call it quits, man. It's over. It is absolutely over, man. My God. At number 6, we have maybe one of the most uninteresting rap artists I've heard ever, and his latest record, Gunna, with Drip or Drown 2. Um, yeah, boring. Boring is really the only thing I have to say to describe this album. It is boring. The production, the beats that go along with it are spaced out to just oblivion and just sound like sleepy time. His vocals are just kind of stupid. His lyrics have no rhyme or reason. They make you dumb. They really just make you dumb. That's what Gunna does. He just makes people dumb. And the fact that he makes people dumb makes it so that people actually enjoy his music. I don't know how. How the heck do people listen to Gunna and say, oh, this shit is fire? No. There's no way people are actually saying it. He is easily one of the most uninteresting artists right now in rap music. There is no question about it. And Drip or Drown too is just full of a bunch of songs that show his lack of writing capabilities if he is writing this stuff. His lack of auto-tune crooner ability. Like, he's just trying to be Young Thug. Like, he's just a Young Thug clone, except nowhere near as good or as exciting as any Young Thug song. So, yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that. It's just so mind-numbingly boring and stupid. I'm just gonna leave it at that. At the number 5 spot, the album's not actually boring. It's just like extremely bad with doing some crazy things. And this artist, I've said even in the top 5 worst songs video, just have a terrible 2019. And it mainly had to do with this album. And this album is one of the new albums of 2019 from Logic. And this one is Supermarket. Um, this was a soundtrack, okay? This was supposed to be it is a soundtrack. It's not supposed to be, it is a soundtrack to a book that he released, also called Supermarket. And he decided is instead of doing his normal hip hop routine that's starting to get old, but oh well, he decided he was going to do a rock crossover with hip hop and pop and stuff like that. And it's actually laughably terrible. It really is. When you start off an album with the song Bohemian Rhapsody, that right there just should be a red flag. You don't. Why would you ever name a track that? You're just gonna get people mad because the song is just not gonna ever live up to its name. And it's not that great of a song. It isn't. And it's not the worst song on the album, not by far. Because this album also contains Lemon Drop, one of the most easily probably the most asinine Logic song you're ever gonna find ever, with Lemon Drop. You know, probably gonna rock your world. There's just so many songs on here that just sound like he took one take. Like there's some like he's like playing an acoustic guitar, and you can hear him like mess up, but yeah, he's still just kind of going along with it. Like you could have done like 3 or 4 more takes for that to make it sound better at the very least, instead of just doing semi okay pop rock stuff slash indie stuff, mixing with your hip hop stuff, writing some absolutely terrible lyrics over it kind of pop stuff. I just don't know what Logic was really thinking here, because there had been a point where the people listening to this and had to produce this, they just had to look at each other and just say, this really is not not that good. Like this take he just took was really, really bad. I don't think we should allow this. And I think the person that was next to him was like, listen, it's not gonna get better. We're just gonna have to take this bad take and just know that it won't be any better and just move on with our lives. And this is just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. And I really hope that Logic never attempts this again, because what this ends up sounding like almost in a way is like a bad Red Hot Chili Peppers album. Like it kind of does. It really does just sound like a bad Red Hot Chili Peppers album. Like he even has songs that sound like they were ripped from B-sides from a Red Hot Chili Peppers album. So yeah, Logic failed miserably with this one. I don't know if he can ever really recover from it, I think he's just gonna be a meme solely because of that album alone. So I guess I'll just move on from that. Number 4, and this is a disclaimer before I name what it is. I'll say this. This is not the artist's fault at all what happened here, because the artist just had no say in this. And I guess before I talk about any bit more, I'm just gonna say what it is. It is the newest xxxtentacion record, Bad Vibes Forever. And before I get into critiquing a little bit, because I didn't talk about this in any of my videos or anything, I'm just bringing it up now. I'll just say this. This would not have been released if X was alive. No question about it. Because what is on here is just bits and pieces of samples of him singing or moaning. I hate to say it like that, but yeah, basically like him moaning or any of that stuff. And sometimes that's just the entire song for like a minute. And then you'll have features on it. Features that really make no sense at all. Like, why is Rick Ross on an xxxtentacion record? Why? You think they would ever collab with their two differing styles? Like no, they would not have. And Lil Wayne, yeah, Lil Wayne had him featured on a song in Lil Wayne's last record, but I don't think the song that he's on, just no. And like I said, basically every song on it sounds incomplete. The production's terrible on most of them. The folkish kind of weird songs on it are terrible. The dancehall tracks are just forgettable as hell. Every single track on here is terrible from start to finish. And the thing of it is that if this was released when X was still alive, this would have been the number 1 worst album of 2019. But the fact of the matter is that this is not even X's finished work at all. There's a reason why this work was never released. He knew it was bad and he was not going to put on anything, but they decided, you know what, we're going to take his name and just run it through the mud and basically make his discography one of the worst in rap history. Because that's what's been happening with this guy. You know, the last 2 albums from him, more like from his label, have been absolutely terrible. Like Skins was god awful, and Bad Vibes Forever is also just god awful. But again, it's not even his fault. It's just a terrible, I don't want to say trend, but it might start a terrible trend of just people using dead artists and using their unreleased music just to gain clout and to gain money. And it's absolutely sickening. So I actually thought about not even including it on this list, but I thought, you know what, it should be called out for what it is, and it's just a disgraceful, disgusting money ploy of an artist who died. No matter what you think of him, it's an artist who died, and his name's being dragged through the mud, and it's being used to make money for people. And it's just terrible. Number 3, though, on this list, the rapper is still well alive. No question about that. And this is easily the biggest disappointment of 2019. By far the biggest disappointment of 2019. It's not even close. Not even close from any other group or artist that this is the most unbelievably tragic disappointment of 2018. And this disappointment is Chance the Rapper's The Big Day, the big flop, the big shithole, whatever you want to call it. That's basically what this album is. Because my God, this is bad. For one, Chance on the entire record is terrible. His rapping is terrible. His flows are kind of crappy as well. He doesn't even redeem himself with flows. His lyrics are terrifyingly bad. I think I might have already said it, but his singing, I just have to say it again if I already have. The singing on this record, oh my God, is it ever bad. How does he think this was okay? What was the producer who had to listen to him sing and rap, why didn't he just say, listen, you're really, you're not doing too hot on the mic right now. You want us to fix your mic up, maybe save this part for like a feature maybe or anything like that. No, that's not what happened. They let him embarrass himself essentially on many of the tracks on here, and I don't. There are so many songs on here that just annoy me to the core because the beats are not interesting at all. There are songs on here that just have random parts on it that just make no sense whatsoever. Like the Freak Out, I can't remember. I think it might have been The Big Day, the title track to this album, I believe, where the guy is just literally losing his mind in the middle of all of it, just yelling "fuck it" over and over again, and it's just like what the hell is this doing? The beat's just like kind of smooth and silky. It's actually not even that bad of a beat, really. It's probably one of the better beats on the record, I guess, even though there's not really any. And he just starts losing his mind. And Chance the Rapper does that a lot on this record. He literally ruins any slightly good aspect that the album has. And because of that, the entire album's just ruined. Oh, you want to know another thing, too? This thing is 90 minutes long. I had to sit through this thing one time, only listen to the entire thing, alright? Because 90 minutes of pure torture is just not worth repeating again. And honestly, there's a song in the back end that's so bad. And not bad to the point where it's like kind of like hilarious. It's just ridiculously bad that Found a Good One, Single No More song is gotta be one of the worst songs ever made. Like, really, it is just absolutely annoying. Lyrically, it's just ridiculous. The beat is terrible. Oh my god! And because of that, I haven't listened to like the last three tracks more than once. I just can't do it. I want to once I get to that song and I listen halfway through that song, I'm like, I can't do this. I just can't. And this album really is one of the biggest disasters of a debut record because technically he's got a couple mixtapes, not a studio album debut. This is easily one of the worst debut albums of all time. It has to be. How can it not be? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. The fact that I mean, I guess an album about your wife and your marriage when you're a rapper, it's probably not going to do the best. I mean, let's just be honest here. Who wants to listen to somebody talk about their wedding, you know, for 90 minutes and things about it? Like nobody. Nobody at all. So, yeah, I hope Chance learned from this and will move in the right direction, hopefully. The next album that I'm going to talk about at the number 2 spot was an album that I did not cover because it was only released in the past couple months. And I actually didn't do a listening to the album by itself. I watched the movie that was attached to this thing. And it is easily one of the worst things I've ever watched on YouTube. It's one of the worst things I've ever listened to when it comes to parody. It's honestly the worst critique of an album I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, if you don't get what I'm talking about right now, then I'll also tell you it's Nostalgia Critic with The Wall. Yeah. One, who asked for this? Okay. Nostalgia Critic making music and trying to be funny and trying to critique things is already a bad idea. Then you decide to talk about The Wall from Pink Floyd, which I think is a pretty great album personally. Yeah, maybe it's not the best one they have, but I think it's written well. I think the musicianship on it's pretty well too, and I think the movie was pretty decent too. Or I haven't seen it, but at least the parts I've seen, I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen parts. It seemed pretty decent. Well, absolutely crazy, but pretty decent. And yeah, basically this is an album that critiques the entirety of The Wall, the album, the movie, basically everything about The Wall. and he decided to make his own little like 30-minute movie and an album about the wall. And like I said, both of them are two of the most absolute cringe fest things I've ever heard and listened to. And that kind of saddens me, really, because parody is usually pretty good in all sense of the word, but the thought process that went behind this album had to have been minimal at best. There's just no way that Dogwalker, I think his name is, really thought seriousness about this entire project. He had been fucking around, right? Like, this had been a joke. This was one of those cases where I just had to say to myself, this had to be a joke. There's no way he actually just released this and he actually, could buy it. Because, again, he parodies this entire record, The Wall. He has Rob Scallon, another YouTuber, a musician on YouTube, one that I respect, and I do watch his videos once in a while, do the music for this thing. And his renditions are kind of respectable, but they don't offer anything at all. Like, the original instrumentation for the album is just so much better. And just thinking about how ridiculously cheesy and cringy and I don't even know what to say about it, man, because this thing really was one of the worst things I've heard in the past few years and just watched. And it's hard to explain it really, except just to say that his critique on this is not all funny. It's not all smart. It's basically him complaining that the album didn't relate to him enough. Almost like he's like selfish about it. It's just really weird. It's just a weird experience. I might end up just watching again just to like laugh at how cringy it is, if I can actually get to that point, because it honestly is cringy to where it's so cringy that it's laughable and funny that way. It kind of surpasses that, and then it actually goes to just extremely cringy again. And it might end up just getting to the point where it's just the cringe factor of it, to me, just goes back to actually kind of funny. Then it's the cycle just going to repeat. I mean, I'm not going to really, I don't think I will watch it again or listen to it again. I'll definitely never listen to it again. Absolutely not. I'll not listen to it without the visual aid, because at least there's something that kind of distracts you. But it is what it is. But anyways, I spent enough time on this, and I think I need to move on. Even though that critique from Nostalgia Critic, whatever the hell his name is one of the worst things I've heard in the past few years, there is still one album I heard this year that amazed me just how really bad it was. And it's weird because this artist has literally done nothing to change his style at all. This guy literally has released, I think, 3 or 4 projects now that have had no soul to it, no mention of variety at all, no compassion, no self-respect, really, honestly, no human qualities. There's really no human qualities to this artist and his albums. And the album he released earlier this year is one of the most devoid of life albums I've ever heard. And that album, in the number one worst of 2019 spot, is Nav with Bad Habits. Because, my God, what is going on with this guy? Why does he not do a single different voice inflection ever? Why does he sound like he's singing the same thing over and over, except with painfully simple lyrics that honestly make him think that he's bigger than what he is? And trust me, he's not a big deal. He's not a big deal at all. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, he released an album last year called Reckless. Or was it the year before that? I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe it was 2017. I don't remember. That was, I just remember it was just being one of the most mundane, generic things ever. And instead of improving upon that, he literally just does it again, except makes it even more painfully generic and uninteresting. I just don't understand, man. Like, how does an artist literally have a discography that's kind of big? He has a kind of big discography. He actually has a decent amount of songs, and not a single one of them emotes any kind of like any sort of emotion, really. It just has no emotion. It feels like he's just a robot. And I hate to use that critique because so many other people have said it before, but it's like he's just a music making robot. And instead of like trying to make anything interesting, he's taking the most basic software parts. Like he's just taking the bare bones of like Windows 10 or some shit, and he's just putting it on the record essentially and just calling it good. Like, okay, let's just see. Simple beats, simple rhythms, simple vocals, simple lyrics. Boom, put it out there, see if it sells. There we go. And that's what I think Nav only is at this point. He's making the most lifeless music possible. And that's what I think just makes you just wonder, how is there such a following for this artist when he's making the most pointless music ever? He's literally got to be one of the most pointless artists out there. Like, he is just so plain Jane that he might as well just be like this robot simulator of a human being. Like, I just don't get it. His music is just so robotic, lifeless, and just, I guess in a way, tragic. Because it doesn't have to be like this. He could definitely do something different in his music. I feel like he just chooses not to. Or maybe this is what we're hearing is just the extent to his abilities. And if that's the case, then good fucking golly, I'd be scared to hear what he has for B-sides lined up. Because those, I just can't imagine how mundane and generic they can be. Like, and the thing is that Nav at this point is just so, like, Nav is just one of those artists that if he never existed, nobody really, I think, would have thought of music differently. Like, I don't think anybody's out there thinking that Nav is like one of the best musicians. There's just no way. Like, if he was to disappear, nobody would ever think about Nav ever again. And that does kind of sound harsh now I just said that. But when you have an artist who just is putting out some of the most ridiculously dull music and just run of the mill, follow the leader music, it's just hard to take a man seriously anymore. So, yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you all so much for watching. It has been kind of a pain in the ass to make this video, but it is what it is. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to be notified when I release videos, which I hope will be more than once or twice a month. I'm going to try to. I can't really, promise that, but I'm getting better. Try and get 2 videos up as quick as possible. And I guess that's basically all I have to say. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and you all have a nice day.